Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, I want to talk about House of Cards projects. Okay, so I just got back from a meeting this morning and I was all decked out in a suit and everything, and I just came home to get changed real quick and I'm going to head back into the office. And I was going to do this video in the office, but I thought it's such a nice day, well let's do it outside. So once again I'm in the backyard. Right? So and the meeting wasn't with a client, it was with like a business mentor. This was like the first time I've ever spoke to like a business mentor, right? And we're talking about, hiring people locally. So this is something that for some reason I'm okay, I was okay leaving my job, I was okay, I'm okay hiring people overseas, but when it comes to hiring somebody locally, that's something that just it scares the shit out of me. I don't know why, but so that's what we do, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about the House of Cards projects. So, and I don't mean the Kevin Spacey show, which is really good, right? So we're working on this project. We have a project that we took over from some other developers that we're working on, it's one of these things where my developers in India are working on it, and they're having a bit of difficulty with it. They're saying, the code is really strange, and it's a lot more complicated than we thought, and all this kind of stuff. So, which is great, great to hear. Like in the middle of the project, right now we have problems, but this kind of stuff happens, right? So I was talking to the original developer of it, and it's difficult to go back to the original developer when you take over a project. You have to be really careful. You don't want to. You can't badmouth their code. You can't, and you have to understand where they're coming from. So anyway, I got the impression that this is one of those projects that was added onto and added onto and added onto. And by looking at the code, I mean it's really well done. It's well documented, all that kind of stuff. It's just structurally, it's got some some different parts all over the place. But I wouldn't say that it's weak. I don't think it's as bad as he was saying was the original developer. But he was kind of saying that they asked for things over and over and over again, and in the end it became something that was no longer supportable. So that's how we got it, right? So yeah, it's nice, right? So anyway, I know I've worked on projects like this. You probably have too, right? Especially when you're a junior developer. Everything is unstable, right? You're just coding away. You're plugging things, piling things on top of each other. But then, as you get more experience, then you start setting a proper foundation, right? If you get really good, you start using design patterns and loose coupling and all this kind of stuff, so that you start to anticipate things that are coming, early on. But even after I've been coding for years and more the senior programmer, I still had that issue with business owners of a project that came to me with and they just say. They tell me what they want, and then we code it, right? And then as soon as we're done, then they'll say something else they want, and then they'll say something else they want, right? And then you kind of get the impression that they actually have a big picture in their head that you don't know about. So if you can anticipate that kind of stuff, you can make the foundation much more solid. Right, so like I said, I have had a few business owners like this. I mean, sometimes it was okay. They'd tell you the big vision, and which is good, because even if you never ever get to that, like you were talking about version 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Even if you never get to that, you can kind of code in a way that if this does take off, you can do that, right? But when somebody just starts, they say go off and do this, and then when you come back and say done, they say okay, now do this, and you're just doing little bit by little bit by little bit. It's really hard. Now, if you're commissioning an app from somebody, this is the reason I'm bringing this up. Is just for those of you coders out there, you probably know about all this. But for those of you who are like going to commission an app from a development company, this is really something to keep in mind, right? If you have like a grand vision, like you're thinking 2 or 3 years down the road, like if this takes off, it's good to mention that to the developer. And if you do client work, it's good to try to get that information from your client. So you can say, where do you see this going? Is there anything you want to add in future years, all this kind of stuff. Not to say you're going to do it, but like you could, if you have an internal database or even a cloud-based database, you could structure things in such a way that you can add to it later. It just becomes a lot easier, and you don't have this house of cards. And by house of cards, I mean you change one little thing, you move one little thing, and everything tumbles, right? You probably worked on projects like this where you make one little change. It looks simple, but then all of a sudden everything stops working, or like things stop working in other parts, and you think there's no correlation. But then you see, though, there's like variable dependency, like global scope variables and stuff like that. Things that were done either done by a junior developer to because they didn't know better, or by a senior developer because it was the only way to get done what they had to get done based on the foundation that they had. Anyway, that's it for today. Let me know if you guys worked on projects like that, if you've had this kind of similar issue. It's for me, it's just one of these things that pops up all the time. And this kind of thing, like the developer he was like that I spoke to at the previous project, it sounded like he was really frustrated, and I could feel that, right? And I know where he's coming from, right? And it's it's like I don't think he's a bad developer. It's obviously not the case. It was just a case like, dude, I know what that's like. Sometimes clients could be difficult. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.